Let me start out by introducing my colleague to you, SoumyaPillai. Soumya is from our science bureau. She's a science correspondent, senior assistant editor in the science bureau. So, what is she doing on Cut the Clutter in the week of Sindoor, and also daily fighting between India and Pakistan, daily very dangerous fighting between India and Pakistan with the use of missiles, drones, air power, all kinds of things. That's because Soumya, because of her curiosity as a science journalist, found what has turned out to be the most defining story of this entire season. Because what's been the issue with Pahalgam? The question that skeptics have raised is India has given no evidence that there is a Pakistan connection. There were a bunch of people, they could be local Pakistanis, many Pakistanis, including people I respect. They've said it's a false flag operation without any evidence. But the reason they were able to say this is that there was no evidence of any Pakistani connection. So what Soumya did is, because of her curiosity, she found something which turned out to be a plausible Pakistani connection. I'm saying plausible, I'm being very careful. I'm not conjecturing, I'm making a plausible Pakistani connection. If you read the print, which I'm sure you do, but if you don't, you must read the print, you would have seen this story. The story is viral. It's also been copied by many others, which is okay. You can't help these things these days. See the story on your screen. If you see the headline, you understand this. You will also get a link of the story, and there will also be a follow-up today. The follow-up link also will be we will give to you. So what does the story say, and how did it start? It started because Soumya discovered at some point, just minor curiosity, that she was looking at the sales records of Maxar Technologies. Maxar Technologies, as you know, is a big American firm which has satellites and provides and sells commercially very high resolution satellite imagery. And higher the resolution, the more money they charge you. It's almost military grade. In fact, Ukrainians in the war have been greatly relying on Maxar pictures. One of the first things Trump had done when he was squeezing Zelensky was to even put a ban on Maxar selling these pictures to Ukraine, and Zelensky completely flipped. Now, she noticed that a lot of people had been placing orders for pictures, for satellite pictures of the Pahalgam region in high resolution. Now, it was just a minor point of curiosity until the massacre in Pahalgam happened. Once the massacre in Pahalgam happened, then working backwards, she figured that there was some interesting connections to be made. For example, month of February happens to be a short month, 28 days this year. In that short month, 30 orders. Initially, it looked like 12, but turned out 30 orders for pictures of the Pahalgam region were placed. So somebody had paid that kind of money. And Soumya, minimum is about
3 lakhs. 3
3 lakh,
lakhs is where
3 lakh
they
rupees per
per picture.
3 lakh rupees per picture. And higher the resolution, it becomes more,
Yeah.
right? So somebody had spent that kind of money. The interesting thing is that in this 12 months preceding this February, the average of purchase or orders for Pahalgam pictures were just about 1.5 per month. So how does it go from 1.5 per month to 12 per month? Then in March, there is no purchase. In March, there is no purchase, there is no order. In April, after the incident, after the massacre in Pahalgam, on April 24 and April 29, there are again fresh orders made for Pahalgam pictures with Maxar. Now, if you go back 12 months, then there is almost no orders for Pahalgam pictures. So, how did somebody get so interested in Pahalgam pictures, and how did that interest peak in February? And if so, how come there were no orders in March, but repeat orders were placed after the event, when obviously these people were trying to escape? They were in the same general region. So all of these things added up to a picture. And the picture probably was that somebody was interested in Pahalgam. Even then, a stronger connection needed to be made, because this could all just be a coincidence. It could be a tour group or a tour operator who's doing it. So she discovered that these orders went up with Maxar for Pahalgam pictures when a company called BSI Private Limited, tiny company, BSI Private Limited, founded by a man of Pakistani origin, Obaidullah Syed. He had founded this firm. He became a member at Maxar. Only members can place orders with Maxar. I'm sure there's a fee. He became a member, and then demand for Pahalgam pictures started going up. You might again say, this is you are drawing too easy a connection just because he's of Pakistani extraction, and people are buying these pictures. This can be mere fantasy, or you're being overly suspicious for no reason. I would have also, as editor, said that look, this is we are drawing too tenuous a connection. Let's not do this fancy kind of journalism, right? Add two and two and make eight, right? We need more evidence, and that evidence she found when she did some forensic research on Obaidullah Syed, and found that in the past he had been charged, tried, indicted in American language, convicted, given a 1 year jail sentence, actually 1 year, 1 day jail sentence, and fined $250,000 for what? For for selling nuclear secrets and nuclear equipment, sensitive equipment, in violation of American technology transfer rules to Pakistan Atomic Energy Commission. Now you see the thread somehow becomes a little bit complete. Once we got that thread, that's when Soumya ran with her story. Now she has a follow up to that story, and I will tell you how significant that follow up is. Once the story came out and the story went viral, international media took notice of the story, it looked like Maxar may have sent Pahalgam pictures to somebody. I'm not saying he was, somebody who could conceivably be selling them to the really bad guys in Pakistan to plan the operation in Pahalgam. I'm telling you, it's a plausible story. This is not a smoking gun. It's a plausible story, but it is a plausible story, plausible and logical story that needs exploration. The company itself, बोलते हैं ना चोर की दाढ़ी में तिनका, right? A guilty conscience. The company itself, first of all, said that, but BSI did not buy any of these pictures from us. Someone else might have bought. But then, lo and behold, when she checked the company's website again, Maxar's website again, BSI's name had been removed as a partner. That is the reason I said chor ki dadi mein tinka, or a guilty conscience. So that is the story. Now Soumya will explain to you exactly how this happened, and I will leave it to her.
Like you said, Shekhar, our first interest started growing in Maxar when this particular company, Pakistani-based company, as you very rightly pointed out, came in as a partner. So I also wanted to make that distinction for our viewers that at Maxar, you have paying clients and you have partners, and the special privilege that a partner gets is that they are representatives of the company, so that makes their association with Maxar even more questionable, so to say. So they came in as a partner around 2023. And incidentally, that was just after Obaidullah Syed, who is the owner of this company, had completed his 1 year sentence.
1 year and 1 day.
1 year and 1 day. So he completed his sentence. Just about a few months later, the company became a partner. And what happened is that from June 2024, there was an uptick in Pahalgam related. So we could not directly make that connection before this particular unfortunate attack happened. But there were people that our sources in the security agencies and with ISRO, who are also customers for Maxar, they started noticing that India's own territories and sensitive territories like Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir, around Arunachal, that had started appearing on the Maxar portal. So that's how the radar, yes. So that's how the radar went up, because for India, Maxar is one of the biggest suppliers of high resolution images.
I can flip that point and say that for Maxar, India is a big customer.
Yes.
Government of India also, and Government of India agencies. Because just as for India, Maxar is a big supplier of pictures, for satellite imagery. For Maxar, India is a huge customer.
Right.
And so many Indian agencies, including ISRO, from ISRO, I'm sure, to security agencies,
Yeah, DRDO.
intelligence agencies, defense,
Yeah.
DRDO, etc.
Yeah. So they are big clients of ISRO. In fact, big clients of Maxar. In fact, I mean, we would go on to say that at least 11 of Indian companies are also partners, just like BSI later became.
Right.
So actually the radar went off when BSI came on board. And we started just, there were discussions that how this particular company had come on board and how suddenly there was Indian regions that, sensitive Indian regions that had started appearing on the portal. And just to explain why this is significant, because on the portal, any subscriber would only be able to see the regions that have been ordered. So if I'm able to see a particular map or a region that has come from some other partner or some other subscriber. So anything that comes on the portal is something that has come from. Of course, we can't really go back and trace where the source is from for confidentiality clauses that Maxar lays down. So actually, it did sort of become a matter of discussion before the Pahalgam attacks. And we were trying to make some kind of connections, or we were trying to wonder
why so many such a sudden demand for pictures of sensitive Indian regions.
Yes, so that was just like that was just a discussion that was happening between me and a few sources in the agencies. But suddenly after the attack, we started thinking backwards of whether this had any kind of Pahalgam connection. So that's how the story began. And like you very rightly pointed out that, it is an extremely expensive portal. So each image is available only for 3 lakh rupees. There are minimum.
But if a resolution goes up, it can cost more.
So because it has the most precise constellations, that is why it sort of provides very, very high resolution. So its upper limit itself starts from 30 centimeters, which is good enough to...
So explain this resolution. What is 30 centimeters? What is 15? What is 10?
Yeah. So when we are saying that any satellite image would have a resolution of 30 centimeters, we're talking about the pixel size. So the smaller the pixel size, the clearer would be the image quality. So 30 centimeters would mean that, you will be able to very clearly see the infrastructure of...
Or will you be able to see, tell a man from a woman? Or will you be able to count the number of human beings at 30?
Not at 30, but you'll be able to get a sense of the infrastructure.
At 15, you can count.
At 15, you'd be able to see, people on the street, how the streets are looking like. At 10 and lower, you'll be able to really zoom into who exactly are the people who are walking on the street. So that's the resolution. So the sharper the resolution is, the better view of the region you'd get. And at this point, if you look at any other competition in the world which is making this facility and service available, Maxar tops that list. And that's why it's pretty high in demand. It serves a whole range of government agencies from across the world, which also then makes it questionable, because under what laws does it fall? Like, how, can we put Maxar under our ambit of law to say that, what parts of our region can you access and can you not access?
And what parts of our country can you sell?
Yes.
And exactly. If you sell to somebody, what kind of due diligence do you carry out?
Right.
Right. That means a foreign country's spy agency can buy from you.
Right. Right. So there are a lot of questions around those.
And this man is a convict for having supplied sensitive information illegally to Pakistan earlier, and nuclear information.
So even though, since you pointed this out, I wanted to bring this point also, that since he got done with his sentence, Obaidullah Saeed is nowhere. He's like a ghost on the internet. He has no digital footprint. We do have a Twitter account, but we are not sure if it belongs to this particular Obaidullah Saeed. Even for that account, the last post that was made on the Twitter account was for 2014, also of a man belonging to Pakistani origin. But after that, he's been a complete zombie. The only existence that he has is on the Maxar portal's partner page, which lists Obaidullah Saeed as the owner and the primary contact person.
So the man himself is a special purpose vehicle, as is his company.
Yes.
Could be.
So yeah, that's how the story started, and there were a lot of there were a lot of coincidences that we could not ignore, but we did our due diligence, and there were certain portals through, I mean, the portals through which we could run to the point till where we had access to. And then, of course, we took help of certain people within the agencies who had subscriptions to help us out with a little more precise data. We can't reveal their
Right.
identities, of
Right.
course.
So can you give a more detailed analysis of the numbers?
Right. So what we did was we zeroed in on just Pahalgam first on the Maxers portal that we had access to, because we're not a paying partner. So we ran it through that, and we then started to make a graph of how many orders were being placed monthly.
And that's the graph we have on your screen.
Yes. And I would like to caveat this by saying that in the story that has appeared, we went with very conservative numbers. Like you said, we went with 12. But later on, when we did a much more precise search, actually in the month of February, there were...
Through some members.
Yes. We did a more precise search, and we found that actually in February, the number of orders were 30.
30 in the previous 12 months, 1.5 per month.
Yeah.
And uske pehle, none at all. Right? Nobody knew Pahalgam.
Right. So even though, like we said that, we had reached out, we did our due diligence, we reached out to Maxer on time, we'd sent them an email with a very, very detailed list of questions of whether a background check was conducted on this particular company, because it did have a very, very strong history of criminal charges in the US itself. And we did ask them... BSI. And, we had very, very particular questions, but they just got back to us saying that the source was not BSI. So yeah, so that's that.
And now they've removed his name.
Now they've removed. Now they've removed.
इसको बोलते हैं मन की किताब से तुम मेरा नाम ही मिटा देना.
Right.
है ना? तो उसको मिटा दिया.
Yeah. So when we started getting data, February was this very, very jarring uptick in the number of orders. Yeah, like you can see the graph, and we'll put it behind us, that you have orders that are being placed, like 2, 3, 2, 3,
14 in 12 months.
Yeah. And then suddenly you will see it's so noticeable that it can't be ignored as a happy coincidence. In March, we saw that there were no orders at all. A day, like in April on 12th, there was an order. And then it was again radio silence. And then, like you said, 24th and 29th. And since then, there have been no orders again. So yeah, we started looking at vetting this particular data through various services that Maxer provides. Like, every every paying partner, that we could access to. Like ISRO has a better subscription, so we ran it through them. And, there were a few private companies, so we ran it through them. So we just wanted to be sure that we are backing our data and we are not making any conjectures. Yeah. And that's how we went about it. We also reached out to BSI to do due diligence to them. That we sent out an email. We also could not find...
Did they respond?
No, they did not. We reached out, I think, through all portals.
But do they exist? I don't know.
So yeah, I mean, we did reach out and we did our due diligence. And just for the consumption of our viewers also, that I would like to put the homepage of BSI, which claims to be a web developing, high tech GSI. They deal with a whole range of services with a very that's just conjecture again, that very basic website for their services. So all that sort of raised our doubts, but again, we are not making any conjecture. We are just putting out facts for our readers and for our viewers.
All I can tell you is that I did some of the coverage in the 90s, more than 30 years back, on the nuclear smuggling in Pakistan, because Pakistani nuclear program was built almost entirely on smuggling. And I got help from some specialist journalists. So there was Mark Hibbs of Nucleonics Week and many others. And through them, one of the phenomenon we discovered was that Pakistan's method was to set up these dodgy companies that appeared, did some business, bought stuff for them, transferred, and very often disappeared. and then later got caught, and many of them got
And
prosecuted.
this was very specifically mentioned by the US in their indictment order also, that how BSI just became a face to root
For the
the.
Pakistani Atomic
Yes,
Energy Commission.
and they also specifically mention, and we will put that document also, that how this was a national security threat. So if it was a national security threat for the US, there is no reason that it is not going to be a security
for US's allies,
Yeah.
since they call us up.
Yeah, so
Their
there were
allies.
so very, very clearly this indictment report has highlighted some very jarring security lapses from their end, because he used to use his company as a face to say that they were the final users of this product, and then he was routing it and then taking it back to the atomic energy.
And now you're also doing a story on his
Yes,
indictment,
yes,
his conviction, right?
yeah, we are going to be on this
all the
story,
details.
and like the aim is to just bring out facts and to just.
So fantastic job. Finally, there is some window, there is something to explore uh, by way of where the Pahalgam idea might have come from in somebody's mind, because this is quite a bit of evidence. I'm not saying it's evidence that can convict somebody in a court of law, but this is too much evidence to toss away. So many coincidences don't happen in real life. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well done.